The generation is problematic, the distribution is problematic, and the governance, the distribution and the generation will fall into play. What is the governance of the electricity? The governance of the electricity is the systems that have been put in place to ensure that people that are supposed to be manning the energy sector are competent, reliable, and those that are having integrity to run the sector. As of now, the governance of the energy sector is very chaotic.
And for now, they are not competent.
They are not competent. That is why the president has dissolved the whole board, the EGTC and the EDSA,
Are you basing your argument on that?
I'm basing on that, the argument, and the argument is that is what the president has agreed to. He has clearly agreed that the governance, people are incompetent in those places, and the governance. There are times.
Is that a solution to solving this problem?
I will come to that, Musa. Let me just say the context. It's very important. There are times in the energy sector we have a lot of politicians there, party boys. In the energy sector, occupying directorate positions. Some of them are party boys. Imagine you being a party individual, and when you're employed to go and head a particular department, you're not really an expert in that area. You're just going there because you're not system, Bobo. There are lots of people are in that sector, and also the energy sector, they lack the ability to go after their money. I heard the chief minister castigating the people of Sierra Leone that people are thief light. Correct, but also talk about the mosque, the thief light. Correct. The church is thief light, correct, but ministry is a thief light, correct. You know what the president has done? In fact, he has instructed, it is an executive order. He has instructed the Ministry of Finance, all the ministry, departments, and agencies, a majority of them, with the OEDs, for cut up at their allocation. By force, an executive order, not presidential order. So, for instance, and there are some ministries that owe the energy sector billions and billions of leones. So where the incompetence comes in...
That's exactly the argument some people are making.
Musa, where the incompetence comes in is the inability of the energy sector to go after the money. You know where the money is. Why can't you go after your money? You know the ministries are owing you. They are the thief line. Why don't you have systems in place to ensure that you go after the money? That is where the incompetence comes in, and the politicization. I'm just talking about the governance aspect. And the final aspect of it, which I will talk about before you ask your next question, the governance aspect. We don't talk this repeatedly. In England, government are not even light, Musa. The energy sector is purely and exclusively in the hands of the private sector. Government, over time, don't demonstrate the inability, the incompetence for running the energy sector. Why can't you bequeath the energy sector to the private sector, the independent power producers? I know they can't power ship. They've started that. But why can't you just give them holistically? I know there are some independent power producers who are competent to provide electricity in Freetown. The moment you give the private sector, we, the citizens, will not go, no business for government again. We let go now the whole, the private sector. Because they know they are running a business. So in the private sector, when they are employing someone, they will not employ you based on your party affiliation. Because for them, what they care about is quality outcome. Because if you don't give me light, I will go out on the street and demonstrate, and your business will close. But government, a lot of lethargy is there. Now, here they see, you call Ed Saman as of office, bra, abadi would not get like to. They tell you, bra, me see, I don't go come here, they have to call him, man, so they go don't go there. Now, government, because government people then get lethargy, because complacency they when they employ people in a paddy business. But in the private sector, for instance, if you give the care powership, I'm not advocating for that. Or you look for any private sector, you say, but the generation, distribution of energy should be in your hands. For instance, for Freetown alone. When they come, they will change all the lines. Because that is also the problem we are also talking about. And I will also talk about the generation and distribution where the problem is, Musa. That's why this topic is very important. So, for instance, the generation. As of now, Freetown, those that are subscribing for electricity from 2018 has grown from 192,000 customers to over 300,000 customers. So we are having more people that are having energy demands. And as of now, Freetown, according to figures, we need 100 to 120 megawatts of electricity to have sustained electricity in Freetown. But because the transmission lines are very old, I'm not an energy expert, but in fact, what energy expert will tell me, say, the cable, I don't forget the specific name, we cable are something like 15, again, the name we call them. We need 32 something, some 32 kind of cable, what they will use, I'm not Fabian, we use, for them able to accept the light when they give. So even as of now, we get somebody where they give 150 or 160 or 200 megawatts of light. The current system, they will accept them. The moment you send the light, the problem. Now, make as of now, you see, the transformers, they burn massively. But they just fixed you yesterday.
And that is something really the government has actually identified. But then, how much is it that now they are working towards solving that kind of problem?
I'm seeing some steps. There are some steps they are changing the line, like what they did in Bo. But right now, when you go to Bo, the city that I'm born, you see the light is very, very stable. Well, when I say stable, it bright, it put on everything, it is at a normal peak. Okay. But in Freetown, you light the cam, you never put your fan on. Because the transmission lines are very, very weak. So what you need to do is a complete overhaul of the energy sector. Complete overhaul. When you overhaul it, but again, government going forward, David Sengen knows this. Government need for pull on per light pieces. Government will you bequeath that responsibility to the private sector. And I tell you, there are a lot of investors, not just the Turkish. There are institutions, the expertise that for give light. Private sector. In fact, we have some private, independent power producers. They are giving light to countries that are bigger than Sierra Leone. And they have sustainable energy. So when you give them that responsibility, they talk the line between the citizens and the private sector. Well, like no day, that they will do all because their business is closed. But Salon, government, well, like don't go. Now be out be government. And again, I will also tell you, the illegal abstraction of electricity is a problem in Sierra Leone. And EDSA and the government as a whole, they fail in that aspect. That's why I said in the energy sector, it is a collaborative endeavor. Everybody needs to come on board. The Sierra Leone police, the energy sector, and even the Minister of Finance. Look at what happened in the Ministry of Finance. The disbursement of funds. The moment the energy minister resigned, that is when they gave $17 million. You begin to think about power play. Politics begin for playing time. You begin for no. Is it coincidence? Does it mean that they were waiting for the Minister of Energy to resign before they gave $17 million? Or the money just come after the minister?
We do not have
No, I'm an analyst. You look at trends.
I'm
not
saying.
speculating. These are trends. The guy resigned in the morning and in the evening $17 million was given. So it tells you there seems to be a power play between the Minister of Energy and the Minister of Finance.
Out of the 40 million or so.
Yeah, $17 million.
The car powership.
We have $46 million. That's why we are owing them. And we've just given $17 million. The people have been gracious enough. They've started giving light. Even as of now, the light still is not stable. And it's still fluctuating and it's still epileptic. So for me, the fact that the president came in and stepped in, it tells you that he has acknowledged the fact that his approach for the past 5 years to energy has not been right. The approach has not been right. So people of Sierra Leone are now waiting for what is going to happen because the president is now the Minister of Energy.
But again, I think we also need to tap the present government on the back that they've actually, increased energy access across the country.
Oh, of course, yeah. They took it, according to the World Bank report, APC left it at 16% all over the country, which is shameful. And the current government, they are now saying that it is 35%, which is also equally shameful. For me, I don't need to tap them on the back. We should be having 100% energy penetration. Why is it shameful? They should be embarrassed, both of them. They should be apologized to Sierra Leone. I'll give you this figure. 2019, from 2018 to date, the World Bank, they gave Sierra Leone, this is to Bokuto, go online, you read. They gave Sierra Leone over $200 million, not alone for investing in energy. $200 million. If you give that money to Paul Kagame, and they get 80% energy penetration in Rwanda. So there's systemic corruption. From 15 years figures, this is the figures of BAN. I've quoted this on the program. BAN, they made a research, they did their research, empirical research, and they looked at the funds that came in the energy sector for the past 15 years, which involves the APC and SLPP. Almost $970-something million came in for energy in Sierra Leone. Imagine in just 15 years, that is nearly $1 billion. And you're telling me that 5% we should be patting the government on the back? Why should I pat the government on the back for that? That's a failure. So it tells you that the energy sector... At least
they made some steps.
Well, this is a problem. We settle for less in Sierra Leone. You give $900 million.
We should as well, Alfie.
No. I'm not trying to be deliberately negative here. I have no dog fighting the dog. I have no dogs in the fight in this whole situation. I have no interest. I don't speak. Of course, you know me for that. But when it comes, when there are positive sides, I will praise the government when it is right.
So from 16 to 32 is also positive. You want to agree?
Really? It's snail pace. It's embarrassing.
But
16 to 32.
It's a plus.
It's a plus. It's a minus. It's embarrassment.
How is
no,
that
because the money that has come in, as compared to the outcome, is that commensurate? $206 million.
The same money or so was also coming, and much was not done
before.
Yeah.
APC will tell you that when they come, they brought in emergency light. President Ernest Baikoma promised he would give us light. He gave us light. At that time, we were so desperate for light, so we never knew what was the arrangement that was made, how the light was this sustainable, was not emergency, but light being this small. Light being that freaking small. Eh? So the moment he left, Kanja Sise said the agreement of the car power ship was a disaster. It was corrupt. And the government renegotiated. And he said, during that renegotiation process, government gained $18 million every year. Every 2 years, They say government make $18 million profit. So when they come, they renegotiate and review the negotiation. The cow power should became flexible, and government made $18 million every 2 years. Musa by CC. So where did that money go? Why should the Ministry of Energy be starving to pay the car power shift for $6 million, in which they are telling us they make $18 million profit? But again, I put myself in the position of government. The government, as of now, they are not generating energy. They are not. They are buying. And do you know that when they buy the energy, they are subsidizing for people of Sierra Leone? They subsidize for us. So you see, sometimes I'm not just going to be negative, but also you put yourself in the position of government. As of now, you know what is happening in Sierra Leone? And this is deep political scientists. Government is moving from politics of development to politics of redistribution. What does that mean? So instead of government embarking of deep-seated development, what they are doing, they are subsidizing almost everything. Light is subsidized. Fuel is subsidized. So that money, what they use for subsidizing for the light and fuel?
To cushion the effects.
To cushion the effect, exactly.
Yeah.
So if they are using that money to embark on road infrastructure, energy, and water, it will help in development. So the government needs to move away from this government of redistribution, that is government of subsidizing, to government of national development. So Musa, the energy sector is a holistic aspect, a very complex, a very complicated, a lot of corruption they happen, incompetence they happen there. But going forward, I'm going to take the chief minister by his words. He said 18 months to get sustainable energy. We are beginning to mark the calendar. We are going to count.
Like you said, for you, this could just be one of the promises we've had so far.
I've had it before. That's why I'm skeptical. I'm very skeptical. I take it with a pinch of salt, but I will take him by his word. 18 months, we'll not have other explanation again. Because 18 months, at that time, 2 years from now, President Biyo going to go into third year. So the fourth year, a campaign mood. So I don't let Chief Minister begin to tell me, say, after 18 months, when you don't see that happen, on a vote for winner after 2028 to go green a light. Right. That would be very nonsensical.
I'll come back to him. His name is Alfie Barry. Alfie is a colleague, a journalist, he's a media analyst. The program you're listening to, if you're just joining us, it's the top stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM, and as well you can get us on Facebook Live at Riseradiosl 96.3 FM, where we are streaming, and as well do add your comments on the comment section there. We'll sure to bring you that comment. You can as well message us on the line 0779639663, and pretty soon you will have to call us 9:45 precisely. You'll have to call us and add your voice to the program, the top story. So Alfie, let's look at the engagement of African heads of states in Kenya, under the IDA 21, where they actually spoke about financing development in Africa, and President was there, making some appeals to colleagues head of states, to ensure they embark on financing governments in Africa. Like you said, for example, if we are well financed, but again, it depends whether those finances would actually be spent for the purposes for which they will be given. But they actually all appealed to themselves, actually, that they need to source some more revenue, some more funds, so that they could do more for their people in the African continent.
Musa President made a very catchy statement there, which was quite impressive for me. He said Africa should move away from not doing business as usual. And I agree with him totally. You see, Africa, the whole of Africa, as a continent, we are still battling with colonialism. And the colonialism has now metamorphosed into neo-colonialism. So we are no longer having the British or the Americans governing us directly. But indirectly, they are in charge of us. Psychologically, economically, politically, we are still dependent on the West. Until African leaders, even a couple of politicians as of now, they still have that thought. In Sierra Leone, as of now, people will measure your intelligence based on how you speak good English. If you begin bull by English, they say you fool, which is not true. A measure of an intelligence is not based on how you speak good English. If I want to make grammatical error, it is a product of the fight against a foreign language. Call British man can talk Creole now. If you go able to talk Creole, if you begin call pana. That's what we do. In Africa, we're very brilliant.
And we make fun of it.
We make fun of it, we laugh. We say, this man. So I don't measure people's intelligence based on your PhD or how you speak good English. I will tell you, as of now, in some countries, they are now moving away from even the curriculum is now being done in their own local language. Going forward, and I know this is utopian, it will not happen for now, because the correct mentality will not accept it. Why can't us have our own curriculum being done in Creole or Mende or Limba? You know why the Germans are very good at what they do? Or the Dutch? You think they are teaching that their children in English? If you hear some German, they really speak English, they laugh. But they are teaching their own curriculum in their own language. And imagine you being taught in Mende or Creole or Limba chemistry in your own language. How you master that art. For them, English language is just a secondary language. So when they want to travel out, they speak that English. But in Africa, it is a sine qua non. It is compulsory for you to master English. In fact, your success, your standing in society is being measured based on how you articulate English language, which is a foreign language. So African leaders have also inculcated that concept that for us to develop as Africa, we need to have liberal democracy. We need to have Western democracy. And you know what that Western democracy accentuates? It accentuates capitalism. And capitalism in Africa is incompatible with our way of life. So capitalism in America says individuals, they make money, they make wealth, the gap between the poor and the rich, they become wider. Elon Musk, the money man, they become more billionaires, while the rest of the other ones are becoming poor. Africa, what we need to do, we need to have our own democracy in our own African way. And when you have your own Pan-African democracy, you know what? It removes from you first, from this concept of like President Bio and Uhuru Kenyatta, dependency on donor funds. Why can you have African elections in which, even though you conduct the elections, you wait for European Union result? If the European Union don't validate the election, or the Carter Center don't validate, or the US Embassy don't validate the elections, the election not free and fair. When you have your own institutions. So Africa, why can't we reorientate? Musa, this is the word. Reorientate our thinking that no country in the world has developed because of the funding of the World Bank or the IMF. Because the IMF, when they give you money, they have conditionalities. Their conditionalities, you think they are in your national interest when they tell you that you remove subsidy on fuel. You think it's for na better thing? Because when you say I'm going to give you $40 million and you have to pay in 10 years, and when you pay with interest, maybe $20 million interest. And they will tell you, for you to get that 40 million, when a debt, they say you have to remove fuel subsidies. You have to remove a subsidy on top up for Sierra Leoneans. So you think that is in favor of Sierra Leone. You know what they are doing? Because when you remove that subsidy that you remove will ensure that you pay their debts. They are ensuring that they put safeguards in place for you to pay their debts in the future. Because when you continue to subsidize, it means you will be able to service your own debts, their own debts. And sometimes African government, when they fail, Musa, this is very important. When they fail to service the European Union or the IMF their debt, what they do, they privatize our institutions. For instance, Entebbe Airport in Uganda, the Entebbe Airport, when the Uganda government failed to meet their own side of the debt, the Chinese government have taken it. It is now under the auspices of the Chinese. Imagine your airport now foreigners they control them. So our dependence on international funding, which President Bio talked about, is not the way forward. It's not a sustainable approach to development.
Something, as of now, I believe firmly that African leaders have known. So what is stopping them from taking the necessary steps or actions to ensure they actually deviate from that path?
Transformative leadership is lacking in Africa. Transformative leadership is lacking in Africa. So when Paul Kagame decided to be a transformational leader, the first thing he did, he came to the realization that my country does not have resources. In Rwanda, they are one of the most landlocked countries in the world. And they fought a genocide that thousands of their people died. So when he came, what he did, he talked to his people and said, America is not coming to support us. Imagine if when the genocide was going on, UN did not intervene in Rwanda. You know why? America did not intervene in Rwanda. But when the war happened in Sierra Leone, you see Americans coming. You know why? Because they realized that Rwanda had no resources. So they left them to kill themselves. But Salon, we get diamond. You know what happened with some UN officials when they came to Sierra Leone? It's in avocado peacekeeping. Now with diamond, they go with me, brother. So in Africa, you need to have that transformational leader that will embark on development in which your resources are being generated for you. Because when you generate your resources, nobody will tell you how to dispense your resources. But in Africa, whenever the IMF gives you money, they will tell you how you spend the money. Look at right now, Salon government. Right now, all these tripartite when they talk about, so what do you mean the tripartite, the fast track? I'm an analyst. What do you make right now the tripartite don't fast track? Because if you don't hit a roadblock. Now because American government pull by the Twitter page. It says Salon government, for you to have this compact with $400 million, if you don't participate in the tripartite, we will not give you this money. Let me President Bio pull letter, invite Samuel Kama, Thursday yesterday. So President Bio said this in Kenya that we need to pay attention to our own resources. But when he comes, he does the contrary. As of now, the whole government is going down.
Perhaps other African leaders too.
Other African leaders, it is a common practice. Right now, this current government, they are at standstill. All what they wait for, that compact, MCC. And MCC, when they give them money, they will tell you how to spend it. They will give you the specific area that you invest in, the energy sector. They will give you the specific areas. And they will send someone to come and monitor you in your own country. So, but if you get your resources, for instance, the NRA, then begin boarding the tax base. Then begin generate enough revenue for fund we own activities. You think the USA they come for country for story
In the
resources?
country as well, a lot of people do not want to pay taxes.
Of course, the people are evading taxes. They are evading tax because the tax agencies, the NRA and the Ministry of Finance, they've demonstrated incompetence to really go after those that are evading taxes. They have the systems that are in place. But again, you see, people are evading taxes, which is bad. It is a crime. In every part of the world, taxation is the way forward. Even, you know what makes America a great country, an empire? It is because of taxation. But in Sierra Leone, when you overtax, you do embark on overtaxation. And when someone pays tax, Musa, I pay tax for get water no dey. I pay tax for get light, I don't get light no dey. I pay tax for get good road. The city, dirty. Me, even Akisoya, look at the capital where you can end this year. All over the place is filthy. You think somebody they glad for paying tax a day? Because when you pay your tax, you're expecting the services to be given to you, but there are no services. So what you do? You embark on what? Tax evasion. And again, the taxation is leading to the shutting down of businesses again. So it's a carefully delicate balancing act. Whenever you are embarking on generating revenue, you have to be careful. You don't have to shut down businesses, but also you don't have to ensure that you leave loopholes for people to pay taxes. So it's an approach that I say it is a carefully delicate balancing act that we need to do. But as of now, African governments, majority, they don't have the appetite to do that because they think when you begin to embark on that way, now long process for get money. European Union will give $40 million. You get your cutback, you get your kickback, you man buy SUVs, man they live in air condition. Now quick money. They don't go for the slow money where it's very, very good for the country. So that is why, as of now, Africa we lack transformational leadership. We need to have leaders that have the Ubuntu, the Pan-African concept, like the Kwame Nkrumah, what the thinking that we are having. That is what is lacking. Look at Cameroon, Paul Biya. He has been there for over 30-something years. The guy is almost half dead, but he's still a president. He's just a puppet. He's sick. He has stroke. He's over 80 years old. And Cameroon is now going through what? Insurgency. Look at Nigeria. What is happening in Nigeria? Look at Sierra Leone. Look at Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso and maybe Mali and these other countries, they're having now the military coming in to take over the country.
Niger.
And Niger and Guinea. The military is coming in because the civilians have failed to meet their own responsibility. And again, I don't support the military taking over anyway, because when the military comes into politics, it destroys the military itself. So for me, we need to have democratic leader, but the democracy should be based on the African concept. We need to have our own model of democracy, not the Western, how they call them, capitalist democracy. It's not working for us, Musa.
Okay, the program you're listening to is the Top Stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM, and my analyst or reviewer today is Alfie Barry. I was expecting another person, but it seems we have to run this, myself and Alfie Barry. Well, it's all good. The number for your messages is 077-963-963, 077-963-963. As well, you can drop us a comment or two on our Facebook page at Riseradiosl 96.3 FM to add your voice on the conversations we are having here. So now, let's look at another positive story now. Perhaps you want to tag it, except perhaps as an analyst, you'll have to look at it from some different points. But 81 police officers. I hope you're not feeding me. 81 police officers actually are set to partake in a peacekeeping mission in Somalia, AU peacekeeping mission in Somalia. I mean, so this could be, like I mentioned, I don't know for you, one of the positives actually we are looking forward to as a country.
Mm-hmm. Of course. Yeah. Very, very good move. And it's a plus on the part of the Sierra Leone police with all the challenges they're having. I will tell you, Salon police, now Salon no man can misbehave. When they go on peacekeeping on foreign lands, they have immaculate track record. Not just how they behave themselves and comport themselves, but even strategy and tactic-wise. In Somalia, for instance, when our military and the police went there, their strategy in really handling the Al-Shabaab. Remember, Al-Shabaab is an insurgency group that controls almost 50% of Somalia. They control 50% of Somalia. They have their own self-government system. They have their own revenue generation. They are very powerful. They are alternative to the Somalian government. In fact, there are times in which they will fight the Somalian army. They will take over whole barracks and take the whole military. They are very powerful. They are even powerful than sometimes the Somalian military as of now. That's why you are seeing the African Union is beginning to bring foreigners on board. So when Sierra Leoneans go there, in the areas that they govern, they are relatively peaceful. So you have been commended for that. That is why almost every year we send peacekeepers. Because for you to qualify as a peacekeeper, there are benchmarks that they set. A lot of benchmark. I just read the story on the Global Times. They have to assess you based on your fluency in English and report writing, your driving skills, and your handling with weapons, and your character and tactics. Saloma, they all go na Creole, they talk about. When the Somalians they see they eat monkey, they say, oh, these people they eat waterman. That's what they told us, and it's true. Because we eat monkeys, so they you know say na man monkey haram for them. So they see man they eat monkey, say wow. So that's another strategy also. But even when they communicate, so it's a very good, it's a welcome news for Sierra Leone as a whole. Because sometimes when you go into this peacekeeping, it helps to launder the image of Sierra Leone. So it begins to change people's perception. This small country, they able to Ebola, Corona, corruption, war. So they have effective police officers who will execute their duties. So I commend the current IG for this. I hope the numbers increase. And again, it's a very good remuneration for even the police officers when they go.
And so when you started, you mentioned a key thing that drew my attention, that when these police officers are in country, for you, they misbehave, as you put it. But then when they go out there, they perform well. What do you think could be the reason for such?
And it's not just for the police officers. Musa, travel out of Senegal, meet Salon border like Guinea or Liberia. When they grip us all. Love the day between us two, and they check on us. But when I can't Salon, I don't be enemy if you don't come. And so Salon Day, when we are out of Sierra Leone, that love, unity, patriotism comes in. But when we're in Sierra Leone, that's why we pull ourselves apart. Because all kind of Salon, instead of we see competence, what we see? APC and SLPP. Either in APC or in SLPP. So the politics, any kind of way and can't divide yourself. But out of Sierra Leone, by no man's land. So you'll be forced to be united. So, but again, I mean, I'm not trivializing the whole issue, but it's a very, very bold step on the part of the Sierra Leone police to be sending 81 peacekeepers. We hope the number increases. Because when you go on this peacekeeping, those 81 police officers, you know what they do? They pay them very good salaries. And in your salary, I was made to understand, you send certain percentage to Sierra Leone police. Yeah? You send a day for also groom other police officers. Okay. But it also exposes you because in that process, you become multicultural. You interact with other police officers. You learn their culture. You begin to appreciate the security implications in other places. So it broadens your horizon. It exposes you. It empowers you. So when you come back to Sierra Leone, you become a different person. So you become mentorship. You mentor. And most of the way they can go by the peacekeeping, that's when they not serious, when they can be loose. Because when you go that 1 year, because 1 year top, when you go, aside from your salary, but your benefit, because remember, you are going into a war-torn country, so your insurance is very, very big. When you come back, you be loose. You change the lives of your family members, and you also contribute to the force.
So the aspects of them having some fat salaries, but also the exposure and other things that follow also comes in the point about whether people are not being just sent there to ensure they gain some of those things.
No. I think that I think they have rigorous processes in place because. Listen, as of now, they need 81. The Sierra Leone police has selected 200. Now, we have a special expert coming from the African Union. They are coming. They're going to, they take tests for them now to vet them. Okay. They go through, as I said, they go on, or they will look at you from your fluency in English, your education, how you write reports, your character, and your driving skills, and also on weapon handling. So they will do their own test. So Salon police don't send them. Remember, they don't do background check based on the human resource. Then don't forget also the process is in country. I read the report. Okay. So it's a very scrutinous and rigorous process.
All right. So listener can join us now with your calls. If you may, the number is 0779639630, 0779639630. Let's hear from you. We've talked about issues around of course, we've just talked about the 81 police officers who are set to partake in a peacekeeping mission in Somalia, but also we started talking about the correctional service, diet providers or suppliers threatening to stop supplying because they've not been paid for 8 months or so. And then the chief minister assuring permanent solution to the energy crisis in the country. These are all stories we've talked about. We still have a couple of more stories to talk about. The number for your messages is 0779639630, 0779639630. You can call as well on that number now so we can connect you. Let's hear from you. It's 0779639630. You can call and add your voice to the program, The Top Stories, if you just listen to us. So, Alfie, just before we perhaps connect the first caller, let's talk about the labor in Sierra Leone. We all know May 1 is always Labor Day, and of course the minister on that day did highlight some of the progress the ministry has made, by extension the government, in tackling labor issues in the country, but also the challenges actually around labor issues.
For Musa, for any country to develop, you need to have a vibrant labor force.
Let me come back to you. Yes. Good morning.
I think you're having an interesting conversation this morning. It is fantastic for our country to go through most of these things that we are discussing right now. You know, it's a shame we are struggling with electricity, and now we are also struggling with fuel. So yeah, I don't know. I doubt if we have money in our coffers. I doubt if the government could not just come out cleanly and tell us that we are bankrupt and we are struggling to pay for key services, and these are the challenges that we are faced with. So that maybe all of us as a country will come together and figure out ways of solving this problem. But I said it for free, things are getting really, really worse. They are getting worse off. Thank you so much. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Keep listening. The program is the Top Stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. And I have with me in the studio Alfie Barry, a colleague journalist and media analyst. You can as well add your thoughts to the program now. The number is 077-963-963. Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Me and Mohammed, I'll call from Shell.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate our program this morning. But again, me and not say if the criticism again go benefit this country. All what we need now for proper solution, it be journalists now, it be civil society now, it be any pressure group, proper solution for the country. That's all go benefit we in this country. But for say what thing they do wrongly, if you don't back, they criticize, it's just like they add more salt to the wound. Paul Kagame of Uganda, Museveni of Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Paul Kagame of Museveni, then country then the Cameroon. Them man then they don't take more than close to 30 years in power. They're not going to compare that with any leader in Africa, what is Africa, Sierra Leone. This man 5 years, that man almost 22 good years in Uganda, they rule it. So we don't get the opportunity, then the leader wouldn't rule more than 18 years. Them facility, then they all for don't set up in this country. But 63 years to not able to get access to them thing then they want to tell me say 6 years go able. No, the best will now unite. This country are caught up this from internationally. We will get bad opposition or bad journalists and civil society then who them go sabotage government, say they're not the sponsor there anymore. This country are the same. They don't see. So the best thing now left country. Now the best way to go. Criticism is not going to work again. For 63 years then they criticize. Now prefer solution now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Two key things I picked from his contribution. His contribution. One is that it's enough of criticism, but rather let's prefer solutions. But also he talks about the time limits for the presidents we are having in the country. For instance, 5-10 years where you are that lucky, and then compared to some other presidents that have served for 2 decades or more. Let's talk to this person and come back to you, Alfie, really quickly. Good morning. Yes. Yes. Okay.
I tell we analyst what to say because it's one side when you talk about energy, the percentage where the past government left where this one don't come. This my brother at the tell about potential. If we not criticize, how will we able to know we what you not do, what you will do? Criticism they find some time back. When you criticize, you bring some analysis waiting how to solve the problem. And so criticism. But we young government then waiting at the problem. If this government don't can lay foundation, when this one can, if they left that foundation, it's Catalan, it's saying they starting with.
Sure.
You see, you find sometimes with president right now, we want to play some in campaign messages, the way them they do that presidential debate. You see, in people they don't tire for buy one bag 200,000, but I get one word where you talk the way up on the line. He said, but what type of change do people they want? I want some of them in the level at the radio. Yeah.
Thank you. 077963963. We might just take a call now and come back to Alfie really because we'll have to wrap up things. The number is 077963963. If you're just joining us, you are listening to the Top Stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. The very last caller, I'm sure, is here. Good morning. Good morning. The ambush commander is he?
Yeah, thank you very much, Commander Jibo.
Commander Jibo, okay.
Yeah, Musa, I want to say big thanks to you, panelists, wages, as a Sierra Leone. For me, I really impressed over the man. because he put everything at the table and he put everything at the mic. Musa, honestly speaking, yesterday at the WhatsApp message where I get about Burkina Faso, where I see the president, I see the people of Burkina Faso. One man who was in Burkina Faso. Well, Musa, me, the day of independence, 63-year anniversary, I've been there at the House of Freestyle. At the right, he said I go. Well, Musa, what did him back with me that day? Well, I see big woman there. Then I got her. They take water, and when they take the water, and I saw the whip, the copper in Napa. I said, wow, 63 years. So I will go. And one other thing I go and speak in our city, I go to that one guy, and I didn't want man, they say, brah, that's how the lights come on, before we jubilate, I didn't go back. I said, wow. I don't compare no more, even this will never country. Which I swear to God, before I talk to it, I don't come on to me. And then they know what they want now, so who they pay. They know they pay. Because television they not do, because you know why? Because life. And life is now part of the human life. Any nation will not get life to the bra. Musa. But anyway, me, Sierra Leone, Musa will need more straight we hand to God. Because he look at even with mirror what God giving. 1930 from SLSC to NLC Kweduwodi work on Musa TSC London Ayai.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we are not picking any more calls. We have to wrap up things here. Actually, the program is the Top Stories on Radio 96.3 FM, and I am Musa Baisise. My guest here, or analyst better still, is Alfie Barry, our colleague, journalist and media analyst as well. A quick message here says, Africa, we need to stop corruption so the West can stop taking natural resources and use democracy to control our leaders, from Paul S. Camara at Hill Station. So, Alfie, you've heard from the listeners. Some of them made some very brilliant contributions.
Itchy to respond. Yeah.
You want to respond? Really?
Yes. So I want to thank all the callers. They made their own contributions, and it tells you, Musa, that Sierra Leoneans, we are very brilliant people. Those people, some of them might not even go to school. Some of them have not even gone to university. But you see their valid contribution. And most of them, they express pessimism about the situation in Sierra Leone. So it tells you that you don't need to have special eye to know that things are not well in Sierra Leone. The government, the governance, the politics is not working for people of Sierra Leone. But I want to talk to one specific caller who talked about criticism. Now, that's the beauty of democracy. And my own criticism I do in every platform that I go. In fact, as of now, most radio and television call me for analysis in such a way that I even forget that I'm working for Star Television. Every day, every moment. I don't know, because I might not be perfect. I'm not objective, but I'm fair to the subject. And that's what I do. So my own criticism is constructive criticism. And that is the core tenet of democracy.
Well, I think that caller also made a very, his point is also very much important, that we should be focusing more on profiling solutions than we can actually do in criticism.
In a democracy, the beauty of democracy is for you to have your own view and have mine, all for the one side. All man just forget in different view. But in my analysis, I will tell you, whenever I criticize, I give solution. For instance, I said the energy sector, maybe he was not listening or he came in late. After I lambasted both the APC and SLPP, I said one major solution is for you to bequeath. And I talk about maybe that big English. Government need for pull and light business and give the private sector completely, both the generation, the distribution, and the governance. Let her give the private sector. Is that not solution enough? I think that's the solution. But government, do I know why? Because if government give private sector, then they will get chap again. That is the harsh reality. And until we continue that, and it's very embarrassing as of now, Salu will talk about light, then can let they already talk about. As of now, the world is talking about clean energy, renewable energy, wind energy, clean energy that is environmentally friendly. And here is Australian, we are squabbling around dirty energy, very filthy energy. We have how do you call it? The dam, how do you call it? Bumbuna, phase 2. What is happening to that project? If you fix Bumbuna, we don't need to talk about car powership in itself. So I want to appreciate all the callers. I hope we have enough time to talk about broadly issues. The other caller talked about Museveni of Uganda. He was mixing them up. We have Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Museveni of Uganda, who has been there for over 20-something years, and Paul Biya, who has been in Cameroon for over 30-something years.
So his argument was that
the longevity.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the first place, when you overstay your welcome in power, you become a dictator. And when they become a dictator, development becomes stagnating. That's why you are seeing Uganda, Cameroon, they are now stagnated in development. But Paul Kagame, what he does, he conducts elections every 5 years. Even though his own democracy might not be the liberal democracy, he has controlled democracy. What he does, no, listen. I hope we talk. I mean, I'm also an international relation expert to talk about broader issues. But quick one, I want the listener to understand. Let him not mix me up. It doesn't matter how long or short you stay in power. 5 years. In 5 years, I am not expecting you to turn Sierra Leone into England. No. But you can set systems and processes in place that ensure that whenever, even if you leave, when someone comes in, and one of the callers made a very wise agreement, which I agree with him. Salon government with APC kind of power. All what SLPP do, they pull SLPP when they come, same thing they do. So what they do is they systemically undo, dismantle what the past administrations do. For instance, President Kuma in time of power, 11 years, you go up in Kandon, you might not like the way, but he embarked on infrastructure. History will remember him for that. Infrastructure development, road them in day. We see road them. You can talk about the unaccountability aspect of it, but the infrastructure development. As of now, despite the challenges, President Bio, when he leaves power in 2028, history will remember him to be that president that really prioritized education, human capital development. One of the few in the world that gave almost a quarter of our resources to education. That is what we call development. So sometimes when we talk, you don't just criticize. I don't believe in criticizing.
Right,
Me say don't have a talk. But Musa, quick one.
Just a second. I want to actually inform my listeners that we'll be adding a few minutes more.
Oh, okay.
Just so
We'll
run through two other stories before we wrap up, actually.
Okay.
So yes, you can wrap up on that quick.
Okay, so I'm saying, that's alone. Mr. Plan no lie. I don't tire for talk for Ambulem. We don't tire for talk na radio. Because you see, even though I get a fancy job in the similar TV get Kotentai, but myself na Juman, I didn't treat. All what they go to, myself they go to the mountain and keke I take for car walk, one for pay by the road 5,000 and 10,000 I pay. The keke man they fair long scarce. As of now, we are now grappling with blackout, and from now to Monday, there's no electricity and there's no fuel because we are now having artificial scarcity.
That's another developing story.
And we'll talk about, that's the developing story. I hope you invite me during the week so that I will unbundle what is happening in the fuel sector. You see, sometimes when you have some hoodlums, I'm not saying hoodlums, some individuals who hold the government hostage, the fuel sector also, they're having a cabal there. They are so powerful. What they do, when they want to increase the price of fuel, they will create artificial scarcity. And as of now, I have a reliable source that is telling me that they are not advocating for fuel for they go to 35,000. Now make kind of fuel no day. So this month take keke from Abadi Road for Kana PC office. I pay 10,000. I can normally pay 5. I can pay at least 6 or 7,000. When today Saturday waka find boss, you can use all the good them. So people gear up. This is not scaremongering, but fuel is going to be missing. So as you are grappling with light problem, you are grappling with inflation. Now the fuel back don't come into play. So how do you expect us to be really positive at times? So I don't like vuvuzelaing or being pessimistic, but things are stagnated in Sierra Leone. And President Bio, in his second term, I know he cares about his legacy. And President Bio, his heart is bigger than his size for Sierra Leone. All the leaders in Sierra Leone, and it's by Kuruma, President Kaba, when you talk to them, they mean well for Sierra Leone. But you know what happens sometimes? When you surround yourself with the wrong people, and for instance, in State House, the advisors that are around President Bio, you know what they do? They create a wedge between State House and the people of Sierra Leone. At one time, after this election done, civil society man, they go meet President Bio. You know what they talk? And this is very important. I think this is going to be the cap of my conversation. Let's talk about career. People don't understand. Even though they go, some man they misbehave, then go beg for job, which is preposterous. The civil society man then go, some man then go say, hey, power back and I will give you job, which is sycophantic as civil society. But the positive aspect, the president, I not been there, but I listened. And you know what he talk? He said, you know, say, Una, this election will win so. You know me? He said, because me will be in a State House. The one they be there around me. They will give me the impression, say, all is well and good in Sierra Leone. They say, me, I don't do well. I done remarkably well. He said, when I do the campaign, what come on, I begin to. Now I begin to see, hey? Now so my government in some area I don't lag behind. Now make you see the president the campaign on again. He said, now you realize, say, oh, so what did they tell me? Now reflect the reality on the ground. So it tells you that those advisors when they're around President Bio, they tell the party why because they want to maintain a job.
All right. So let's round off with these two stories. One of them, of course, the MPs have elected a new speaker and deputy, of course, Sengepo Thomas Honorable, and that of Ibrahim Tawa Conte, respectively. So what do you make of those? In terms of looking at the parliament, the governance in parliament, we knew what went on, in the 5th parliament, coming on to the 6th, before the Right Honorable Abbas General Bundu actually resigned.
Parliament is the nerve center of any democracy. Sengepo is a young person. Tawa Conte is a young person. And I'm a young person. You are a young person. So you're now having young people in very important decision-making process. Just like we're also advocating for women to be in not just in numbers, but also in crucial decision-making process. Tawa and Sengepo, they have the youthful exuberance. They're young people, which is a good aspect of it. And Sengepo has been in parliament for a long time. He has been there for quite a while. He understands parliamentary processes. He has been deputy speaker. He has been the apprentice to the much older Dr. Abbas Bundu, who was much more wiser, older, but much more experienced, and a father-like figure. So Sengepo is coming with the leadership of young, from that youthful experience. He's 42, and I think Tawa is 41. Young people, they are in their prime. So what I'm expecting them to do, when you are a speaker, is very different from you being just a member of parliament, or you being a deputy speaker. You are now the number 3 man in Sierra Leone. When the vice president and the president, they are not around, you are the president of Sierra Leone.
The speaker.
You are the president of Sierra Leone. When the vice president and the president, they are not around, you are the president of Sierra Leone. So you are the 3rd most powerful individual in Sierra Leone. You are superintending over 7 million people. You know why you are having members of parliament? Now, because it's not possible for all 7 million people to go to parliament. So you are representing 7 million people. So that body language, that posture that you used to have as a member of parliament should be different from you not being a speaker. You not being a speaker, you are the father of the parliament. I know you are SLPP, but you should not be over partisan. But the key word there is you need to have a bipartisan approach. Dialogue. Talk is better than war. Bulldozing should not be working in parliament. And also, disruption should not be the core of the parliament. What you should do as a speaker, you should be the father-like figure. You should be fair, you should be just, and whenever you are counted vote, you should be fair and just. You see, something in parliament, again, the processes. May the Hayes have it. As man, I don't know, they say you have the majority. No. The process needs to be transparent. You need to do the figures, you need to do the counting. But whenever you have...
But that is part of their procedures.
Yeah, no, but sometimes they circumvent it.
Needed.
No, they circumvent it. Sometimes the neighbors have it where they are like, hey, they give the vote. I'm a parliamentary reporter. But what you do, like what they did in the voting, you go for the for voice count, but you go also for specific counting also.
Okay.
But I'm expecting Sengepo. For me, it's very important, as I said, for them to put dialogue. Talk to yourself. When una gets una disagreements, you can retire. You go to the speaker's chamber. You look at the issues not on the point of view as an APC or SLPP, but from the national point of view. The moment he has that psyche, and he must also realize that he's no longer just an ordinary member of parliament supporting SLPP just like that. You're not a speaker of parliament. So you should go above party line. You should see yourself as representing both the SLPP and the APC in parliament. Just as how you give an opportunity to the SLPP, just how you give, you see, in catching the eye of the speaker, that's where also the gameplay. So man, the nation, especially one of the things that are critical. So we are expecting Singapore to be very, very fair to the process.
We are waiting to see Singapore Honorable, representing his people, and now Singapore Honorable, but this time being the Speaker of Parliament.
Of course,
effective. Let's see how the two personalities come into play.
There are 4 years.
Yeah. All right. So let's see that comes to play. But let's round off now with this World Press Freedom Day. Our own day. Generally, when you look at the press in Sierra Leone, how much can you say is free or perhaps not free?
I think there's relative freedom, because if we don't have freedom, what should they talk now? We don't talk. Like we get police officer and they outside the gate. I force the rule because what they say now bad day I can do. Anyway, President Bill also is going to be that president that is going to be in the annals of history as being the one that really bolstered press freedom in Sierra Leone. You know what it means to take that ambitious step in repealing that obnoxious. Musa, you know what we did at media school? Where Kapua tell you say, you need to look at the Public Order Act, in which they tells you truth is not a defense. In which it tells you when you publish something government or like, they invite you Friday, they lock you Saturday, Sunday morning, they left you.
I like not true.
That's what I'm saying. Truth is not a defense. And when they're ready to arrest you, they arrest even the vendor because it's part of the distribution. Imagine now you just go sell paper. You know nothing, right? They enforce the arrest. You know what it did? It deterred women and investment in the media. Because somebody who can invest and rise radio, we think at the time government can lock them. So when President Bill removed that, it was a milestone. So when it comes to the general freedom, it's very difficult for you to see journalists really behind bars as of now. So there's there's general freedom in Sierra Leone. In fact, even in our ranking, we've made remarkable strides. I mean, seven stop up in terms of press freedom. But globally, the figures are grim. Globally, press freedom, journalists for our own freedom, it is shrinking. In Gaza, they've just killed 97 journalists, 97 of them, and dozens of them are in prison. And the Israeli government, they are deliberately targeting the journalists. When you see the Al Jazeera, they see the Motoka, they bomb them, they kill them. So globally, the press freedom is a problem. But in Sierra Leone, we're having relative freedom. But that does not mean we're out of the hooks. But again, when they repeal the 1965 Public Order Act, there are a lot of people who are quite critical and saying, if you repeal the 1965 Public Order Act, the hell will break loose. Journalism will go on rampage. Has that happened? Journalists, we are much more professional as of now. Journalism is moving.
Probably it's because they also introduced the cyber security, law, the cyber crime law as well, which also
You're a very smart man.
Yeah,
it's another form of also the Public Order Act anyway. But that one, it has a broader scope. But I will tell you, as of now, whenever a journalist writes something that is not true, the MC invites you. So it tells you in Sierra Leone, even the journalism at itself is moving. You are not taking steps forward. So going forward, I think Sierra Leone, legally, the legal framework is relatively good for us to operate freely. We don't resort to self-censorship. Press freedom in Sierra Leone is relatively good. But again, when you have the cybercrime law also, that could also be another albatross around our neck. And again, the police, they have new strategy. What do they do? They will invite you for incitements. We've seen that in many other areas. So just to summarize, Sierra Leone, as a journalist, I don't feel threatened in doing my job. I have relative freedom, and I hope we'll continue on this trajectory. And Musa, and you also, I know you are relatively free in doing your work, because if we are not free, we will not be having this kind of conversation.
Right,
but globally, the figures are great.
Thank you very much. I cannot thank you enough, really. His name is Alfie Barry, colleague journalist and media analyst. The program you've been listening to has been the top stories on Rise Radio 96.3 FM. Do join us again Saturday, same time if you can, on this very platform for another edition of the program, The Top Stories. Many thanks for being part of this. My executive producer has been Mariam Abba, and as well, John Escroma actually made us visible on Facebook. To the entire team, I have been the producer and host of the show, Musa Bais. He says, see you some other time. Like I promised, always keep it locked on 96.3 FM. And I wish you a very splendid weekend. Goodbye.